Hello, everyone. Very excited to talk you through some things we've been building at Mode and Synth. So to kick off, I'm the founder of Mode. Mode is an L2 and a recently launched perpetuals DEX. And we're building at the intersection of DeFi and AI. And today I'm going to talk to you about Synth. Synth is a data layer that we've been building on BitTensor. Essentially, it does Monte Carlo simulations of future prices of Bitcoin, and it leverages 200 plus AI models to do the first open source predictive intelligence. So here's the agenda real quickly. So we'll talk about how historical data and the current level of data in DeFi isn't adequate for actual predictive intelligence in agents. This is something we lack. I'll go through what is synthetic forecasting data. I'll introduce Synth. I'll talk about how Synth actually works. Then we'll go into the performance of Synth. Is the data any good? Does it actually have any predictive intelligence or not? And then I'll talk about use cases. So, the data challenge right now, we've been building agents and supporting teams building agents for around a year. And the big issue we found is that most agents don't have any AI, especially in DeFi. They don't have any risk management. They don't have any predictive capability. So we decided to try and fix that. And the way we thought about this is, okay, so if you're trying to predict the future, the way that's done right now, especially in quantitative finance, is via volatility modeling and volatility forecasting. So we set out to create the world's hardest competition for volatility modeling. So right now we have 200 models performing on BitTensor. And essentially what they're doing is they're submitting Monte Carlo simulations of future Bitcoin price. So we have 200 what we call miners on BitTensor. And we have these simulations of the Bitcoin price over the next, this is 12 hours, but we do next 24 hours. And here on the left side, you see the individual paths. And on the right side, you see a histogram of the probability distributions. So if you look at 8 p.m. tonight, the expected price of Bitcoin has around a 22% chance of being, I think it's between 95,500. So right now there's around 200 AI models competing, giving these outputs, and they're being scored continuously every hour over the next 24 hours. So to kind of recap on how it works, 200 AI models competing with their predictions. They're being scored based on a scoring mechanism, which is a continuous rank probability scoring. We're then, essentially taking this data and we're creating this new data layer for DeFi. So when it comes to are the predictions any good? The baseline that we've been using is geometric Brownian motion. So if you look at trading volatility, this is the benchmark you'll be using. And we've seen a 19% improvement over the baseline GBM model on the 6-hour timescale. So currently the miners on Synth are very good at predicting expected volatility over the next 6 hours. As this is a competition and rewards are currently increasing a lot, we're seeing a really significant improvement of miners day by day. So you can see the green line here is Synth's volatility predictions. The blue line is the actual volatility predictions, and the red line is if you are using the GBM model. So what can you use Synth for? It says a few things. If you trade perps, you can use Synth to understand expected liquidation probabilities. So if you have a position open, then you can understand where you'll be liquidated. This chart's a little bit old, but imagine we're at 84,000 is the spot price. Here you can see the different liquidation probabilities based on the time to liquidation. So pretty interesting if you trade perps. For options pricing, you can use Synth's data to create like a decentralized oracle around options pricing data. So this is something that hasn't been done before. And yeah, we're looking to integrate with options trading protocols to give an alternative to implied volatility, which is how most options are currently priced. You can also use Synth data to look at LP optimization. So when you set up an LP on things like Uniswap v3, you need to set a range, and Synth can really help you set like an accurate range so that you're maximizing your fees and you're minimizing your impermanent loss, which is one of the hardest things to do as an as a LP. And we're also integrating a lot of this like data layer into Mode Trade. So we're adding liquidation probabilities and yeah, loads of other core features into the trading terminal we built on Mode. So yeah, where we're going with this is we currently have been producing the data for DeFi, for Bitcoin. We're going to start producing the data for ETH, for Tau, which is BitTensor's currency, a load of others. We're then going to be adding stocks. We're actually going to add gold and silver next as commodities. The reason for that is this is like a continuous competition, and stocks are obviously not traded on the weekend, so scoring it's a bit difficult, but gold and silver are. So we're going to add a few more cryptos in the next couple of weeks. Then we'll be adding gold and silver, and then from there we'll be adding pretty much all stocks. So yeah. We're also going to be adding like multi-token predictions, so ETH BTC ratio, things like that, expected volatility there. And from there we're going to look at like energy pricing and various other industries. This is a team. So the team is mostly made up of quants and data scientists. And yeah, we are expanding pretty rapidly. So if anyone's working in quantitative finance, wants to chat, we'd be super excited to get in touch. Any questions? No questions. Sorry? Thank you. Cool.
We have a question.
Okay.
Hello there, James. Really great talk. Awesome work. And congratulations on the pivot to being a specific app chain that focuses on agents and DeFi. And I think that's the next question, actually. Right now, you're developing a lot of data about how people can generate yield and prices of these assets. Are you looking at agenticizing some of these strategies in the long term, or I know you're going to have a framework for doing that so anyone can come in and plug into your data and do so?
Thank you very much. So yeah, essentially, the way we're looking at expanding the scope of Synth and Mode is by trying to make it super easy for people to build stuff. So Mode Trade is built on Orderly. We currently have integrations with Orderly API so people can very easily build perps trading agents. Synth also has its own API, so you can connect Synth to an LLM. We actually built an LLM you can use to like query Synth data, or you can use the API to integrate into your agent to give your agent like predictive capabilities. But right now, our core focus with Synth is really integrating into much bigger protocols. So yeah, large exchanges, a lot of traditional finance firms are interested in integrating the data. So that's been our focus, for the last few weeks.
I'm trying to figure out how to articulate this question. But have you, like, to what extent has it been back tested, and has there been actual money put into any strategies endorsed by your metrics yeah, I appreciate it's a vague question. I'm not sure how to articulate it, but
So I think this is like a super good question because everyone's like, oh, if you can just predict the prices of stuff, then why don't you just trade on it yourself? Like, what's the point of like giving it out? Well, I think for us, there's a few things. Firstly, it's like volatility modeling. So this is different from trying to predict the price, right? We don't think you can predict the price of Bitcoin exactly next week and say it's going to be X price, but you can predict and model volatility. This is like a math challenge. So with this volatility data, there's multiple ways you can use it, multiple ways you can trade on it, and you can potentially find some edge, whether that's like by looking at options pricing deltas between synth prices and the prices on Deribit. There's potentially edge there. Whether it's on helping you optimize your LP position, there's potentially edge there. But it's a tool within a system of things you should be using as a trader or as an LP. So this is one aspect of that. And yeah, we've been back testing pretty thoroughly. So yeah, we're back testing against the geometric Brownian motion model. And we've seen good results compared to that, which is like our benchmark. And yeah, we're continuing to back test. We're publishing all the data. We're publishing all the back tests almost on a weekly basis. Everything's open source. So yeah, people can jump into the data. You can query the API. So yeah, it's evolving. We've been live like just over 3 months with this project. So still early days, but yeah, results are very promising.
Slightly tangential, but what made you pick BitTensor? Was there no other platform that you could go to? I'm curious about the BitTensor growth, hence the question.
So yeah, the question is what made us pick BitTensor to build this on? Like technically we could have built it on Mode, and we could have built it like similar to Numerai, if anyone knows Numerai, which is like an open source data science competition. Me and one of the guys actually met because we were doing that competition like 8 years ago. So we decided to do it on BitTensor because BitTensor has a really good incentive model. So essentially the way it works is a lot of the competition is essentially the emissions that go to miners are paid for by BitTensor, by Tau, right? So every day, data scientists within this competition can win up to around like $4,000, $5,000 per day. So if you're really good at data science and you want to just like do this as like a side thing, it can be kind of profitable. And the way BitTensor's incentive mechanism works is that you build on BitTensor, and if your subnet, like the thing we built, is interesting and the community likes it, then emissions will be given to your subnet. So people seem to like what we're building. So we have a significant amount of emissions. So every year there's roughly $1 million going to data scientists. And that's from the BitTensor ecosystem. Whereas if we built this ourselves, we'd have to give the emissions ourselves. So it works quite well. Like BitTensor is great. It's a complex ecosystem, but if you understand it, it's very powerful. Thank you.